Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to the Aha Moments Radio Show for the inspiration, education, and celebration of enlightened living worldwide with your host, Mariana Cooper, founder of Aha Moments International and AhaMomentsWorld.com. Tune in for the next hour and learn to trust your aha moments to lead the way to live a passionate and purposeful life. And now here's your host, Mari.
Hello, everyone. It's Mari, and happy Thursday. Today we are doing our AHA Crystal Camp preview call. I'm so excited, and I'm very sorry for the barking dog in the background. That one I can't control. But I'm so excited for today's call because we are actually bringing to fruition an idea that I've had for years, and that is to get my dear friend Allison Hayes, the rock girl, to work with us in a long-term capacity. We are going to be doing an actual crystal, what I call a crystal camp, and that's something that's the title the guides gave me, and I kept working with it for a couple of days. I kept working with it and trying to sort out, is this the right title? Is this the right title? And it stuck, so we decided to keep it. But, you know, what I was looking at is, you know, when I do all these telesummits, and you've been hearing me say it on the last several shows, I got really tired of, 25 and 30 speakers and kind of everybody going in all different directions, and I know for myself, I don't work with 30 different people personally. You have your very, very select few. I call them my personal dream team, and I think that, spirituality and your spiritual development isn't really a practice. It's actually a lifestyle. And working with energy and working with the tools that have been given to us and that are here for us that we don't even know about, once we figure out what they are and how to do it, life gets so much easier. There's so much more here for you to work with than you ever imagine. And one of the people that's taught me how to do that is Allison. So she is also known as the Rock Girl. She is an internationally renowned psychic, award-winning psychic. She's a High Priestess of Stones, which she's the only initiated High Priestess of Stones in the entire country. She has worked internationally. She's worked with a bunch of major celebrities, teaching them all about how to incorporate crystals and sacred stones and Reiki. She's a Reiki Grandmaster, not a regular Reiki master, but a Reiki Grandmaster. She's taken Reiki 17 times, and she teaches, and she has an amazing school down in Asheville, North Carolina now. And I'm very proud of her because it's been such hard work to actually get a building that's devoted to teaching people how to communicate with and really commune with the life of the stones. And so today I'm excited to just have this preview call to give you a little taste of what our 3-week crystal camp is going to entail. We're going to have the crystal camp is going to actually run starting next Thursday. So, and it's going to be for we'll do 3 classes consecutive Thursdays. So next Thursday and then 3 more after that. It's all on the page that you'll see. If you click the button on our event page, you'll see it. And so today's call is really to help us just get set up, to dive deep, and to really, hopefully by the end of Crystal Camp, give you confidence in how to pick your stones, how to communicate with your stones, and all the different combinations. And this is what's really interesting to me, and we're going to talk about this today with Allison once I let her actually say hi. Recipes that you can, the ways that you combine these stones and how they interact with each other. Because most people think, a crystal is, I have huge stones, 25-pound stones, and, it's pretty in this side of the house and it's pretty over in that corner and all that kind of stuff. But when you put them together, they can really work for you, and sometimes they can work against you if you put the wrong things together, which I had no idea. So we're going to learn all about that and a bunch more. I'm going to open up Allison's line and say hello. We're going to get started. Oh, also, before I even do that, let me just say we will be doing some stone readings today. So Allison will be doing her, and if you've been on these shows, you know how popular these readings are. If you want to raise your hand for a reading, please do that now so I can see how many of you are here so I can gauge how much teaching we do so we get enough readings in. And you do that by pressing *2 on your handset. So if you have a question for Allison today, you can press *2. I see a lot of you got on early and have your hands already raised. So do it sooner than later so that we can see. Okay, let's see. Let me unmute your phone, Allison. And
hi.
Welcome. Hi.
Hey.
Welcome.
Sorry. Thank you. So excited to be here.
I am happy to have you here. I thank you because I know you're moving, and you're moving tons of stones from one location in Asheville to the other, and you've been working 20-hour days for weeks and weeks, and I appreciate you coming in the middle of an afternoon to sit with us in our AHA community. But you're in for a treat because these are the advanced people. These are our light workers who get it, and so we want the good stuff.
Yay!
At the front end of the call, it's like I think most people in this community, especially if they're on this call, appreciate the level of study that you've done and just how you live. This is what I love about you. I know we had this conversation the other day. I only want people to come and speak to my audience now who are what I consider to be craftsmen, and I get a lot of people who write to me who want to be on the show, and I say no to because they're just starting out or they're dabbling or they haven't even listened to one of the shows, but they want to be on the show because they hear about it. And I really only want to have the people who live, sleep, eat, and breathe what they do. And I know that's you, and I just want to say I honor that about you, and welcome. So why don't you tell us, I know we always do the beginning of every show, but why don't, just for those that they haven't heard of you or whatever, can you tell people your little story of how you got to work with the stones?
Oh, okay. A little story, okay. Well, my name is Allison, but my friends call me the Rock Girl. By that, I think you guys already know that. Long story short, when I was younger, very young, 2, 3, 4 years old, I had voice, I had conversations in my head as an adult, but I couldn't verbalize them. And it's weird because I think I really kind of came in from my other lifetime very quickly because I remember looking at my hands and arms and thinking, who, where am I, And there was a part of me, I suppose it's the higher self and the soul level that knew, okay, I'm starting over again, there's more, and I felt kind of I felt like I couldn't communicate well, but I could communicate well with spirit, and so the psychic stuff kept coming in, and I really started to communicate on an energetic level with animals. I grew up on a farm. God bless my father. He was a doctor, and he brought home everything that was hit on the side of the road, and as long as I took care of it, I was able to keep it. And so I learned about healing. I learned about energy. I learned about trees, and I would always collect rocks and make fortresses and fairy houses, and I was always connected. And, that was my world, and I felt like I really understood that, and I had to learn how to walk and talk and crawl and speak just like every other human being at the age of 2, 3, and 4, and then I went to school, and I would get these psychic messages and kind of blurt them out, and I used to get in trouble, and I felt very misunderstood, and so I really started turning to nature to communicate. And luckily I think I was in 5th grade, my parents transferred me to Buckingham Friends School in Lahaska, Pennsylvania, and it's a Quaker school, and our homework was actually to go outside and come back and do a story about what the trees said, the clouds, the rivers, the rocks, and so, I'd write about rocks and trees. And, I would still deliver the psychic messages, and I would get in trouble because I was telling stories. That's what they were. Never mind they actually came true. I was telling stories. So in 7th grade, I took I think it was a biology class where we got the box of rocks. Remember those? And I used to carry them around all the time, like a box of candy in my book bag, and they were my friends. And so since I wasn't allowed to deliver psychic messages anymore, when you have that urge, you need to deliver it. So I would ask people to pick the rocks, and the rocks would tell you what they had to say. And so that's really, in 7th grade, how I got my nickname, the Rock Girl, and how I started delivering rock readings kind of under the table. And I would get questions like, does so-and-so, Tommy Smith like me? Is Aaron going to ask me to the dance? Am I going to make the field hockey team? And we would pick the rocks, and I knew what the rocks meant because, remember, there was pyrite in there, tourmaline, and I started studying rocks and doing book reports. God bless book reports. I learned so much that way. And so I knew about the stones, but the psychic messages started to link. And so that's really how I started, and I had to kind of, go under the table, so to speak, go in the closet about this. But I really felt that it felt familiar, it felt good, and it felt like I needed to do it. And then, of course, I went to high school, and it was frowned upon, and I tried desperately to be normal and kind of put the rocks away, but I couldn't stop thinking about them. I kept them under my bed, and I would pull them out in the middle of the night, all sorts of crazy stuff. And I struggled with it. It was kind of like a weird habit. And then I went off to college, and I got to decorate my own room, and people would love to come into the room because they love the stones. And so I always was kind of trying to find a way to slip this into my life. And then in my early 20s, the psychic stuff started, the more you play with rocks, the more they accelerate your psychic ability. Little did I know. And so in my early 20s, I thought, what is wrong with me? And I was fighting with my mother, and so she sent me to a therapist, and the therapist said, you're not crazy, you're psychic. And so she started me down the path of training for my psychic abilities, and I started taking Reiki, and they started to blend, and I really started to learn more about them and have more control. And I found a fabulous stone teacher, Robert McCall, and I cry every time I talk about him on air. He's since passed. But he taught me everything I know about stones. I mean, I knew how to energetically connect to them, which a lot of the listeners probably are thinking, yeah, I know how to do that too. And what Bobby did, his nickname was the Supreme Troll. Imagine that. And so Bobby took my energy connection with stones, and he taught me how to use them to connect to myself, Mother Earth, Spirit, how to do a lot of the combinations we're going to be talking about over the next 3 weeks. And he taught me everything I know, and I'm excited to pass that on. And so in my early 20s, I started studying with Bobby. I started taking Reiki like a maniac. I've taken Reiki 17 times from start to finish, which means level 1 through master level. I've taken 6 years of Reiki Master Teacher training. I was attuned by Reiki Grandmaster. And, all of this energy started to wake up within me, and I was just so lucky. When the student is ready, the teacher appears, and I bumped into, in my mid-20s, some amazing teachers that I've studied with for 20, 30 years. And so, my education started in my early 20s, and then I wanted to be, in my quest, I should rephrase that, to be normal. I met a very nice boy when I was 30, and I got married when I was 33, and I put everything away because his family thought it was weird. And within 2 or 3 years of that, I started to get sick. I got thyroid, I had hyperthyroid, that, my hair was falling out. I gained weight. Yes, and it's when I put the rocks away, when I stifled the psychic ability, that I just started to physically come apart. And so after about 4 years of that and going to doctors and them not knowing what was wrong with me, I thought, let me pull these rocks back out of storage, because my husband was like, we have too many rocks, and what do you do with these? You don't need them. And, maybe he didn't, but I did.
Right.
So
yeah, those are your peeps.
Yes, exactly. So I managed to actually get my thyroid back under control, and I started, I worked for a film company for many years. I got to travel. I got to see a lot of great things, but my heart literally was connected to these stones. So in my early 30s, I pulled the stones back out, and I started to do energy balancing with the frequency of stones, and then people wanted me to teach classes, and I was still studying in Europe at the time. And so I was doing crystal Reiki, Atlantean Reiki. I was studying with Bobby. Bobby had a huge crystal farm out in Tomasi, South Carolina, and I would help him cleanse the stones and price the stones, and eBay was a big deal back then, and I helped him do all of his write-ups. And so I was able to connect to that world once again through all of this energy work. And the sad thing is it did take a toll on my marriage, because the more I kind of grew into the energy and the stronger the connection to spirit, the farther away I grew, or I outgrew my marriage, and it ended up ending. in divorce. But honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way because now I get to do this full time.
Wow. Yep.
And I meet so many amazing people like yourself, but I've known you for thousands of years anyway.
Yeah.
But it's really great because now I do this full time, and I'm blessed, and I just basically dove back into the crystals and the energy work and the Reiki and the psychic ability as a way of healing. My marriage broke up, and it didn't end nicely, and it was very painful. And I myself had to really put my money where my mouth was and turn to the stones for healing and for transformation and personal growth. And, to this day, you know from our conversations that I still turn to them. One thing that I can guarantee every single person who's listening out there today, Mari, is that when they work with stones, when they work with spirit, they will definitely start the process of transformation. The secret is to find out what process works best for them, and I think that's really part of the thrust of the next 3 weeks crystal camp. And so that's kind of my story, and anybody who knows me knows that I do literally work 20-hour days, and the last 5 years have been incredibly transformational for me. What I didn't realize was, like, transformation, it's a lot of work. I thought it was going to be fun.
Yes, it is.
I was going to float around in the pool with a pina colada and just transform and ascend, but instead I'm hauling literally tons and tons of stones. I'm in the process of moving into my new school in Asheville this week. The movers are actually moving my things while I'm on this call.
Making you crazy. I know.
Yes, isn't that fun? But I have a lot of help from Sacred Stone School students who volunteered to help me out, and I send my greatest gratitude out to them. And, the school is really assembling and kind of coming together while we're on this phone call. How exciting.
I know.
So
it's amazing.
That's kind of my story. I mean, I do psychic stuff. I teach Reiki. I teach rocks. And, I'm really excited to have my own infrastructure down here. And, for everyone out there, people have been asking me for a really long time to do online classes. And to be honest with you, I just haven't had the time and the focus to do that. And then here comes Mari. So,
I've been waiting
Mari.
for this for like 5 years. It's been percolating in my head. So I wanted to get into a little bit of the content, and then we have a bunch of people who I think would like to have a stone reading with you, so we'll get into that in a few minutes. But let's talk a little bit just for the sake of, making sure that we have enough content on this call, so when people are listening back and they're not getting a reading, they're hearing stuff that's of value. Let's talk about what the stones and crystals really are and what they're not, because I think people are really confused as to, now, are these stones, do they have personalities? Are they really alive? Are they just rocks that are pretty? What?
Okay, good question. All right. So first of all, stones are giant magnets. Okay. We're going to talk about some facts first. All magnets are stones. Okay. A lot of people are very familiar with magnets, how they work. They come together or they polarize. Magnets are a type of stone called magnetite. And basically, stones are solids, crystalline. Well, they're solid. Some are crystalline, some are not. We're going to get into that in a minute. But they're solids that contain ions, molecules, and atoms that vibrate at a certain frequency. Now, if anybody picks up a book of stone, there's 2 books that I would recommend for people out there. This is actually a good fact. The Crystal Bible by Judy Hall, and the Book of Stones by Robert Simmons and Naisha Akshian. They're really 2 very strong books. They're great for beginners, and they can take you all the way to advanced levels. Now, I have spent probably about $10,000 on all kinds of books, and I still have them because, I spent money on them. But my go-to books were those 2 books, and they have Volume 1 and Volume 2, and Volume 2 is great, but all you really need to kind of start out and even follow this class is Volume 1 of the Crystal Bible by Judy Hall and the Book of Stones, Volume 1 by Robert Simmons and Naisha Akshian. And you'll see there's tons and tons of different kinds of stones. But all stones, every single one of them out there, contains an electromagnetic frequency, and when they vibrate, they create a magnetic field. And that magnetic field, the way it works in relationship to people, it connects to their chakra system and their auric field. Our chakras are whirling discs of light and energy. And I teach a chakra balancing class in person. I also certify in a certain technique of chakra balancing and auric cleansing. We have over 88,000 chakras in our physical, in our human body, okay? And there's so many different types of stones, and they connect to certain chakras in different ways. So not every stone is good for every chakra, and that's why a crystal healer really needs to know what they're doing, and they have to not only know the frequency of the stone, not only know the metaphysical properties, but they also have to know energy, and they have to know the client. And so certain stones work with certain chakras to bring them into balance by an electromagnetic frequency. When you take two magnets and you put them together, a lot of times they snap shut and they form an alignment. And that's what you want the stones to do to your chakras, to bring them into balance. A lot of times, if you turn a magnet the other way, they'll polarize and they'll move each other apart. And so they don't work very well together. And so when I train people in my hands-on healer class or the chakra balancing class, I first train them about energies, Mari, and then I educate them about the stones. Because for you, lapis lazuli might be wonderful for your throat chakra. Lapis lazuli is terrible for mine. It goes better on my third eye. So if I was bringing lapis lazuli over to your throat chakra and I felt it draw towards you and stick, I'd be like, that's how to use that stone. And if you came over to me and you put it on my throat chakra and you felt a subtle pushing away, that wouldn't work. And so, stones are really different types of magnets, and there's an art to the laying on of stones as to where they go. I went to a crystal healer once years ago, and they put the lapis lazuli on my throat chakra. It rolled off, and then they taped it on there. And little did I know I was having the hyperthyroid, which was terrible because, lapis lazuli was an activator stone. And so stones, to answer your question, are really like magnets, and they have an electromagnetic frequency that either draws energy to it or polarizes it. And, the art of crystal healing is knowing what the stone does and also the client, because there is no one-size-fits-all, and that's what we're really getting into in the next 3 weeks. Do stones have personalities? Okay. That reminds me of the pet rock, remember? The chia pet,
right,
pet
yeah.
rock. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, stones, depending on the stone, some stones are cleansers, some are activators, some are recording stones. They have certain jobs to do. And a lot of the stones that are recording stones record what's going on around them. And so when you tap into them, they kind of replay back the energy, which is its story. And that's how people feel like they have personalities. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Now, let's just, there's one kind of by the way to this. We're talking about crystal skulls. A lot of people, we can do a whole other seminar on crystal skulls, but to make a long story short, crystal skulls do have their own personalities because they were carved in the shape of a head, and they retain and project energy in certain patterns. And it also depends on on A, who carved them, and B, what kind of stones they are. But a lot of people would sense that, and I know you're a skull junkie yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I know you have a small labradorite skull, do you not?
Yes, I do.
How's that for
I do
the
have
memory? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that little tiny skull has one of the biggest personalities I've ever did see. So yes, they do kind of, the skulls develop a certain energy pattern that can be reflected as a personality. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Makes perfect sense.
Good. Yeah.
So when we're talking about the stones, I want to ask you if you could tell people, how do you actually know if the stone is right for you?
Okay.
When you're choosing.
All right. Oh, well, one thing that I want to talk about real fast, if it's okay with you, is the difference between a stone and a crystal. All right.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah.
In my Intro to Rocks class, when people come to see me, I always say that first, and I jump up and down like the heat miser because, I don't like people to get confused. All crystals are stones, but not all stones are crystals. Does that make sense? All crystals are stones. Okay. So it's like all, people are people, and then, all Italians are people, but not all people are Italian kind of thing. So
Right. That makes sense.
Yes. With that said, I get into details, into the science about this and the energy, in classes and things like that. But the short version is crystals are a type of stone, okay? And crystals have an orderly pattern of ions, molecules, and ions, like rows of oranges in a grocery store. They go all the same way in all three dimensions. So when you go to the store and you look at the oranges all lined up, from left to right, they're orderly from top to bottom, and from the outside of the bin to the back. And so crystals have that orderly fashioned ions, molecules, and atoms, and it helps them send light and energy much more efficiently. If they were kind of going around corners and all zigzaggy, the light and the heat would not get there as quickly. And so crystals really a lot of times are very pretty, glittery. People are attracted to them because they send light and energy very quickly, and they're they're the most often used stones by crystal healers, thus the name crystal healers. Now, stones include crystals, but they can also include giant rock formations like the side of a mountain, the Grand Canyon. And what they are is, aggregates of minerals and organic substances. And so minerals are the building blocks of stones, okay? Any type of mineral. Pyrite's a mineral, hematite, anything that's really heavy is a mineral. But think about it. Organic substances, leaves and trees that fall down, that's where petrified wood comes from. Animals, they die, their bones disintegrate. And so stones are an aggregate of minerals and other organic substances. And a lot of times I like to call crystals are conductors of energy and light. And also they are, used in healing a lot. The stones, and you can have, the stones that you find on the beach or in the river rocks, they are containers of information. A lot of times if you know how to tap into them properly, you can hear what they have to say, and they record a lot of history. So, when I'm going to refer to most everything as stones, and when we talk about certain other stones, it's crystals. And so I just wanted to educate everybody in that way. And so with stones that are really rock formations, just laying on them, like going out to Sedona, can recharge you. But if you want to be more precise, crystals are definitely the way to go. So I wanted to address that first of all.
That makes so much sense. And what about I go out to the beach here, and I go out once a week or so, and I lay on this one particular stone that has crystal in it. And I mean, it's this huge slab. It's part of a jetty out at the ocean. But it's like I feel like I'm on this bed of frequency. Like everything comes in so clear, and I get up and I feel like I've just been bathed in light and all kinds of stuff. So there is the potential of there being both, or is it just one's embedded in the other?
One is embedded in the other. And so you're lying on the rock formation, which basically contains the information of how it was formed and what's going on around it. And then the quartz crystal, the shiny stuff that you're talking about, amplifies that information. So it's actually an excellent bed, quote unquote, to lay on. And so it's amplifying not only, your own energy, but it's energy of the stone. And quartz in particular is an amplifier. Clear quartz is an amplifier, and it's also it transmits the in an evenly fashion. And you're also going to the ocean, which is water. And when someone if you spill water on the ground, the last thing you want to do is plug in your radio or your television, because it's a conductor, and so you're really getting charged up there, which is great. Because it's surrounded by water, which is a conductor. You're lying on a stone, which is containing information, and the crystals are actually amplifying and transmitting whatever story is in that stone. So there you have it. And also, let's not forget the sand. And you're talking about the New Jersey beach at the moment, correct?
Right.
Okay. That is mostly quartz crystal, and quartz crystal, again, is an amplifier. Now, if you go over to that is mostly quartz crystal, and quartz crystal, again, is an amplifier. Now, if you go over to the West Coast, and you're talking about the Pacific Ocean and the beach, the beach over there appears a bit more purple, a bit darker than the New Jersey beaches, correct?
Right. Yes, definitely.
That's because there's a different type of stone in the sand and in the stones out there called lepidolite. It's a purple stone, and it has lithium in it, and it's very, very calming, number one, but it's also a psychic stimulator. Lepidolite is excellent for the third eye, and what it does is it calms that third eye down, okay, so it actually opens wider, and it channels more information. So not all sand and beaches are the same.
That's amazing. Does it matter? I know some people are beach people versus some people are mountain people. Do you think that the stones have something to do with that?
Absolutely. I used to be a beach person, and I loved it. And then I used to go to Bay Head in New Jersey all the time, and I grew up on Long Beach Island. And I feel like I attuned to that frequency. And now, believe it or not, I live in Asheville, North Carolina. I go back and forth to New York. Nothing can take me out of New York, okay? I love New York. Is interesting, Mari, because it's an island. It's surrounded by water, which is a conductor, and it's mostly pyrite and quartz. Pyrite is fire, energy, and quartz is an amplifier. So that's the city that never sleeps. But in Asheville, the mountains here are filled with quartz crystals, and there's a big river running through it, and so it amplifies that energy, and what's on top of the mountain are trees and grass. However, if you go to Sedona, you have, it's a whole different type of stone. It's jasper, which is very slow, steady, and calming. And Mount Shasta is another mountain, but it's made out of a different type of stone underneath there, so you get different energy out there. So the answer is absolutely. What I tell people is, find out where you're drawn to, what geographical area, and then find out what type of stone is underneath the ground, and then read about it. And it really will make a lot of sense as to why you're either drawn to that area or you're repelled from that area. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Wow. I can't wait for this camp thing because you see, guys, you see the level? This is the level. This is not somebody who learned about stones from somebody else and just reading the book and then trying to sell you stones. This is the real deal. This is us. Okay. So how do people know if a particular stone is right for them?
Okay. There's a lot of different subtle ways to do it. But initially, just what are you drawn to, what are you not drawn to? Let's take two examples. If you go into, a lot of times people will say, well, someone told me, I had a reading and someone told me to get rose quartz to bring love into my life. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, but I'm not really drawn to it. And I would say, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, I went into the store to buy the rose quartz, but I was really drawn to the citrine. And it's what you're hungry for, what you're drawn to. And everybody is different. And the ticket is, how do you connect with stones? Do you see, are you attracted to it visually? A lot of people, when they do my rock readings in person, they come over and they pick up the pretty stone, and then it doesn't feel right, and they put it down, and they end up with the ugly stone. And so the rule of thumb is, what are you hungry for? Go over and touch it. If you go into a rock shop and they don't let you touch the stones, leave. You're not going to know. Listen, it's the same thing as buying shoes and buying jeans. Are you going to buy jeans and not try them on? Or are you going to buy shoes and not try them on? And initially, what to be careful for. If you think it's pretty, that's great, but touch it. It may not connect with you. And so It's just really, Mari, it's based on electromagnetic frequency, because we talked earlier in this call about the electromagnetic frequency of a stone. But let's talk about the electromagnetic frequency of a person. Our chakras are electromagnetic frequency, and so is our auric field. So really, when we go to select a stone, we have that electromagnetic pull to it. And so, I love it. Here's a task, a challenge, a game for people out there. Next time you go into a rock shop, go over to a certain area, walk in the front door, and just take note of how you feel. I'm drawn to the left. Okay, what's over here? All right? Or, I really want to go to the right-hand corner, but I get there and I'm propelled back. Note the subtle energies, because it's the electromagnetic frequency of the stone either drawing you in or pushing you away. Now, if you're pushed away for any reason, if you think it, feel it, sense it, so be it. Okay? Honor those subtle energies, because the more you honor your subtle energies, the sharper they get.
Right.
And one thing, a lot of people say, well, I'm intuitively drawn to a stone, or I intuitively know that I want to go to the stone. What I like to tell people in my classes is take the I word out of it. Take the intuit, because intuit, it means, is going directly to spirit and getting the guidance that way, which is great. You can do that later. But on a healing level, on an energetic level, let the stones draw to them your chakras and auric field that needs to be brought back into alignment. Because if you go on the premise that the stones are magnets, and magnets bring things back into alignment, you're going to walk into that rock shop, and your chakras are going to be doing the talking to the stones, not your higher self. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then once you align your chakras and your auric field based on the electromagnetic frequency, then you can go to a stone that might want to activate your psychic abilities or do some angelic work or connect to Mother Earth. But go pretend like you're a giant magnet, go into the store and feel around. Now, don't be surprised, folks, if you pick up a stone and you're like, ooh, I like this, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, it feels done, it feels heavy, or it keeps falling out of your hand. You can attune to stones that quickly. So,
wow.
Especially stones like hematite, pyrite, quartz, any high-octane, really loud stone, if you will, obvious stones. A lot of people buy hematite jewelry, and then I get emails and questions like, oh, it broke, it fell off, what's going on? It doesn't mean it's a bad stone. It means it did its job and now it's done. And in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about the difference between stones that cleanse, stones that activate, stones that awaken, stones that accelerate. You want to choose the right stone for the right job. For goodness sakes, you don't want to get an activator on a heart chakra that has just been broken, because you're going to activate that pain. You want to get a cleanser first. You see?
Yeah, see, there's a lot of logic. There's a lot of progression in this stuff. That makes so much sense. I know when I go we have a mutual friend who has a shop, and when I go and I picked up, actually I was in there recently, and I picked up this piece. She put this piece of labradorite in my hand. My hand started to sweat. It was like it was like an appendage. My hand, whenever I feel heat, when I can hold a stone whenever I feel heat, or if I put my hand in front of a stone, like if there's a big crystal church or crystal, one of those big tall type things, and I can just put my hand in it, you can just feel in the palms of my hands. Are there any sensors in the palms of your hands to feel this stuff? It feels like that, at least to me.
Of course, my goodness gracious. There's probably there's probably 1,000 mini chakras in your hands. Okay.
Oh, no wonder. Okay, I didn't know that.
Absolutely. And you just brought up a really good point, Mari. You feel heat, you feel sensing. Now, for somebody else, it could be a tingling. It could be a throbbing. And so, this is what everyone needs to pay attention to, is how they feel, not how someone else feels, because you feel heat. Now, if I went into a store, I would feel tingling. And so, this is a really great way, as we learn about stones, to learn more about ourselves. And
right.
so, take note of what feels good and what doesn't. And since we're on the topic, let's talk about, how do you know a stone is good for you? How do you know a stone that isn't good for you is more appropriate? I would rather have someone go into a store and buy something that was great for them or was okay for them rather than something that's not okay for them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
A lot of times,
yes.
Like you were saying, you went into the shop and you felt some really great stuff. Well,
right.
You know what you like and you know what you don't. You've been doing this metaphysical thing for many moons. But a lot of people will go in there seeking help, and they'll say, oh, well, I need this stone and I need that stone, and I have negativity in my office place. And then the person, in the store, depending on how educated they are, will suggest something. And say you'll go over there and okay, someone is having negativity in their office, and the salesperson will say, well, go to the black tourmaline, And say you go over to the black tourmaline and your heart starts racing or you get dizzy. That's not good. So that's not going to help you, okay? And
you're
so
passing out.
Yes, or people get headaches. And, so many people bring their stones to my classes and say, well, I was told to buy this, and it's not working, or I don't know what to do, and it's really not the right stone for them. And so if it doesn't feel good, the rule of thumb is if it doesn't feel good, it's not good. It doesn't mean it's a bad stone. It just means that it's not matching your frequency. And so instead of the black tourmaline, you may walk past the smoky quartz, and you'll be like, ooh, I like this. And so when you feel that connection, that drawing into the stone, that's the right stone for you. A really good example is so many people come in looking for rose quartz because they want love. And a lot of times, they would, buy the rose quartz and nothing happens. And then they'll come into the rock room and they'll be really fascinated with the citrine. And they're like, I don't know why I can't put this down. And I said, well, I do, because you're looking for love with the rose quartz. But really, energetically, what you need to balance this overabundant heart chakra energy that you've been stimulating with the rose quartz, you're looking, you need the solar plexus, which is the self-confidence level, which is, the fearlessness, the moving forward. That chakra is right below the heart chakra. So you're needing something to support the heart chakra rather than enlarge the heart chakra. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So perhaps your heart chakra. Yes, I know. Pink. But, we'll get into this later in class. But, heart chakra energy is pink, but you also have to figure out what you want to do with that heart chakra. So then you bring in another stone.
Yeah. This is spectacular. This is the kind of thing, again, this is why you need somebody who's a high priestess of stones to tell you all the nuances of this stuff, because so much of the tools that we have, and they get popular because the Real Housewives all of a sudden started carrying stones in their bra, and now everybody wants stones, and things go in and out of vogue, but these things are steeped in ancient wisdom, and they're here for a reason. The whole world is here to talk to us and help us along our way. I know we have a zillion questions here, so I wanted to see if we could get into some of these, and we also are going to talk a little bit about what's going to happen in camp. But is it okay? Can we talk about the process for the stone reading? I know that we're going to pick one question, just one, okay? And remember, we have a lot of people listening in. So, and then they pick what are the numbers again?
Oh, okay.
They're going to give their numbers? Yeah,
the best way to do this is when you call in to have one specific question in mind. And remember, the more detailed the question, the more detailed the answer, because we only have a few minutes per person. Now, what I would like you to do is have 3 numbers chosen between 1 and 42. So when you get on the phone, I'll say, okay, what numbers are you choosing? And you're like 1, 5, and 20, for example. What's happening is I have a grid here, and the stones are on the grid, and it's numbered. So when you're picking the numbers, you're actually picking a stone that's sitting on that number. And I constantly rotate them and shuffle them throughout this process, so you're never going to get the same number on the same stone on the same number. So you want 3 numbers between 1 and 42. I'm going to ask you that first. Then another number between 1 and 4, and then another number between 1 and 6. So you're going to have 5 numbers altogether. 3 numbers between 1 and 42, 1 number between 1 and 4, 1 number between 1 and 6. And so each number is going to be a stone, and then we're going to hear what they have to say.
Okay. Very good. So if you want to call in and ask for a question, you can do that on with star 2 raising your hand on boards, and I'm going to get going with that. Also, we have a bunch of written questions coming in. Please keep your questions to a line or two, just because we have about 65 questions here. So actually, let's take a couple of callers, and we'll see if we can get some off the board so I can sift through them. So our first person is also, if you've been waiting with your hand up for a while, please get back near the phone so that you don't miss us, because sometimes we unmute you and you're off washing dishes or something waiting and you miss us. So the first person is Jake Gersten from New York City. Hello.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you ladies?
Well, good. What's your name?
Jean.
Oh, hi, Jean.
Hi, Mary.
So what's your question today?
I have been involved with crystals, too, almost all my life, and I would love to know I used to make jewelry out of them as well. I would like to know what is the best for me.
Oh, okay. That's a great question. I love your voice, by the way. It's very ancient.
Yeah.
I work off the solfeggio tones in the voice, and there's a lot of stuff there. So excellent. What is the best stone for you? Well, let's choose some numbers and see what they have to say. You ready, Jean?
Ready.
Okay, 3 numbers between 1 and 42.
1, 12, 26.
1. All right, 12, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, a number between 1 and 4.
2.
2, a number between 1 and 6.
6.
Voila. Okay, there's a lot of different stones that are really good for you for different reasons. But which reason did you have in mind?
Oh, any and all.
Okay. Long story short, they're showing. Is this jewelry thing? Is this a business or is it a hobby?
It was a hobby, and I did sell to friends.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long time ago.
Okay. Yeah. What's interesting here is you didn't choose it, but the stones are already giving me information. I normally don't, kind of come across with this kind of stone to tell most people because it's a high-octane stone. But do you work with Herkimer diamonds? Because they're showing you're ready for that right now.
Yes, I do. I've made jewelry with Hercs, and I've got some on my shelves have loads of you name it.
Yes. Well, what they're showing is you're really ready to kind of tap into the inside of the crystal of the Herkimer diamond. However, what they're saying is to make sure to work with a grounding stone like hematite when you do it, so you don't kind of flip your lid and not find it. And this is something we'll cover in the next couple of weeks on how to get the most out of a stone. And with that said, it's using a grounding stone. So the Herkimer diamonds are a great place for you to start, to continue to pick up where you left off. I don't have time for...
No, understood.
Yeah. But with that said, Herkimer diamonds are a really good place for you to pick up where you left off, and it's really about a past life. It's really about, past life energy with you. But in order to download all of that information in the center of the stone, you must work with a grounding stone. They're showing hematite is going to make a lot of sense with things that have gone on in the last 10 years of your life as you retrieve and remember all of this information. The important message in the Herkimer for you is look for the rainbows. The Herkimer diamonds have so many, windows within them. And And a lot of times they're called fensters, F-E-N-S-T-E-R-S. It's a type of facet within that type of diamond. And there's so much information tapped into the center of the stone about your healing abilities. Obviously, you made healing jewelry in your other lifetimes, amulets, protection jewelry. It's showing you're really good at that. So it's really going to take you back into the center of the crystal to activate in the new frequency of 2013, which we're now into 2014 and beyond, some more, kind of really juicy information that you're going to go on to do. I mean, we could go on for hours, but Mara would kill me. So I just want to wrap that up. But Herkimer Diamonds as a high-octane activator stone, make sure you work with it with the hematite, which is, not a lot of people can handle that energy, okay?
I know.
But stay away from the moldavite. Are you playing with moldavite too?
I once bought moldavite in a ring,
okay.
and I don't wear it. I lost one stone within inside of 3 months, and it just sits there.
Yes. Actually, when we were talking earlier in the show about how to know that stones aren't for you, if you continuously lose them or they break,
right.
That's a really good, kind of indicator that the stone is not meant for you. Moldavite has a lot of kind of ET energies, and I'm not saying it's a bad stone. It's not. It's very good for some people, but where you want to go back into Middle Earth. You want to go into the center of the stone, and not all high-octane stones are the same. So I hope that helped you.
It certainly does, and I have to tell you I have a pair of Atlantean crystal earrings.
Oh, well, that's where we know each other from.
Of course.
All
three of us.
Yeah.
And even Tabitha Feline says thank you. God bless, ladies.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
You too.
Okay, so
wow, that was fun, wasn't it? Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, let me just see if I can. Yeah, you're so funny. So, our next person is from Beacon, New York. It's Barbara Anderson, and hopefully that's your name. Hi, Barbara.
Hello.
Welcome.
Yes, it is. It's
Hello.
Barbara.
Welcome. What's your question?
I was lucky enough to have a reading with you a year ago in June. I asked about a relationship with a man named Miguel, which you confirmed had a mutual and real attraction and great potential. But the caveat that I had to change in certain ways, I had to release doubt and embrace my inner beauty if this was going to have a chance to really move forward and grow. It's a year later. He's still around me. There is definite affection, but we haven't really grown the way I'd like it to. So I'm going to say, obviously, I must not have changed sufficiently, or we would be closer. So what is it that my question is, where is the work that I still need to do so that I can help us create a more open and expansive relationship?
Okay. So you're talking about you had a reading with me, yeah?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Does it have something to do with the state of Florida?
No.
Well, not you. There's two people in this relationship. Okay. So with that said, it's what they're showing, this scale is a balance here. We're going to choose some stones first, okay? But they keep showing the state of Florida. Obviously, we're on air, so I don't want to get it too personal. But 3 numbers between 1 and 42.
17, 37, 12.
17. Did you say 37?
Correct.
4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. All right. And you said 12, did you say?
Yes.
Okay. A number between 1 and 4.
3.
3. A number between 1 and 6.
5.
5. Okay. All right. So you want to know, I have to be honest with you, you have 3-man stones. And so it's not about the work that you haven't done. It's about the work that he needs to do now, okay? I remember the frequency and the sound of your voice. So I do remember the voice, okay?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Let's see. I'm trying to kind of be politically correct because we are on air with hundreds of people listening, and I don't want to out too much here. But it feels as if he's having issues around family. Do you know if that's correct?
Yes, that would make sense.
Okay, yeah, they're showing the red calcite, which is all about family, but the 3 stones after that are all about him. So, Barbara, that's your name, correct?
Correct.
Okay, Barbara, you've done your job, but what you have to do, they're showing your hands, and they're kind of in a fist, like almost kind of like waiting. You have to open the energy, and energetically you are connected to him. And if you don't take on, one of the reasons he's not rising and doing his work is you feel like you have to do it all. Energetically, you can affect change by kind of releasing the energy and saying, okay, now it's your turn. The first stone is the intuitive stone. It is all about amethyst, and it's showing that intuitively you're kind of up on this, correct? But what you do is you doubt yourself. There's that D word again.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
And so intuitively you know this is about his family. Okay, how do I say this in front of 400 people? It feels like he has major family commitments. How's that? Commitments. I feel like I'm playing charades.
I think it does. His family makes him feel like a baby. He's middle-aged, but they treat him like a baby, and it's held him back from stepping into his own level of maturity. That's my take.
Yes. Okay, great. Well, that's your intuition, because it shows you're right on with the intuition. But there's some huge family ties that I can't get into on air. But he's still very much connected. I would strongly suggest a private reading to kind of get into the details, but it does show the dream come true stone, that the two of you will connect in a way that you want. The thing here is the next part of the work. It's so funny because you like to, you're a worker. You like to take on the work, and now your work, your job, is kind of your homework is to energetically release this back to him and say, okay, now you have to do your job. Okay. The doubt is about trusting your intuition and letting go. You know that you can change yourself. That's why you want to change yourself, okay? But this guy has to step up to the plate. Will he? They're showing the good old hematite stone, which is a follow-through, a grounded stone. So the answer is yes, but there's a bunch of energy work that I can help you with at another time. And obviously, if you listen to the class for the next 3 weeks, we're going to talk a lot about relationships. But it's letting go so he can do his work. Energetically, he's almost a bit on the lazy side, saying, oh, well, she'll do it, because you're used to kind of energetically carrying a lot of responsibility. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Huge amount.
Now,
I'm going to Chinese ear of the ox.
Yes, well, there you go. And what's interesting is they're all grounding stones. Red calcite, smoky quartz, golden rutilated quartz, that's your dream come true stone, and then also the hematite, all right? All the spiritual work is good. There's no spiritual stones except for the intuition, and that's telling you to follow it. So you've done your work, and now you have to release. Mari and I are going to be talking about manifesting through the frequency of stones in the next couple of weeks. That's probably a really good place for you to tune into, and then also how to get the love you want. We're going to be working with some pink stones, but we're also going to be folding in other stones. So I hope that does help you. But you've come a long way. You've done your homework, and now your homework is to let him do his. Does that make sense?
Excellent.
Not only does it, but it frees me and it helps me relax. And this is wonderful. I can't thank you enough. This really is very helpful to me. Extremely helpful.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Big bird.
Thank you so much, Barbara.
Thank you.
Okay. It's interesting. I was listening to her, and she had such a beautiful, articulate, succinct way of saying a whole lot of information in a very short, organized way. And one of the things as women I think we do, and I know you and I have had this conversation privately, is we take on so much of that other person's energy. When we're energetically aware and the other person isn't energetically educated, it's almost like we're trying to be mommy and daddy at the same time. It's like a single parent of the energy.
Absolutely,
and,
absolutely.
Yeah, just the way she was saying. Well, and we also, I think, there's been kind of this runaway train grip on people of we create everything, so we're creating someone else's behavior and I think sometimes we get it to such an extreme that we don't let ourselves be able to release and allow, because we feel like I must be doing something wrong if this isn't if I'm creating everything and this isn't, coming out to where I want it to be in a certain time period and all that. But I know we'll get a lot more into that in camp. But yeah, very, very good, Barbara. Thanks for your vulnerability and for your willingness to share with us today. That was very helpful. And I'm sure you are the only person in the entire community who's going through that. So.
Not, yeah.
Not, I don't think so, yep. Okay, let's take one more. How about Mildred from Yardley, Pennsylvania? Let me see. Hi, Mildred.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. What's your question?
I, too, would like just a general reading on what would be best for me right now, and in particular, if I need to choose something, it would be finances.
Okay. All right. Yardley. Wow, Mildred from Yardley. I'm from New Hope. Pretty cool.
Millie. Yes.
Yes.
Just right up the street.
Yay. Okay. We have, what are your numbers? 3 numbers between 1 and 42.
Okay. I chose these as you were saying to choose. 19, 21, and 15.
19. Okay. 21, and you said 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, a number between 1 and 4.
3.
3, a number between 1 and 6.
5.
You said 5?
5, yes.
Okay. Now, it's so interesting because it's really not saying anything about finances. It's really about your life path. Have you thought about that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
No conclusions. Definitely, yes.
Okay. Now, let me ask you something. What about your finances? Be very specific as to what you want to know. You don't have to make dollar signs and stuff like that. But what exactly do you want to know about your finances?
How to manifest large sums of money.
How to manifest what?
Large sums of money.
Okay. I think that's a very popular question.
You asked.
Yes. Okay. Well, all right. They're putting no finance stones yet. Okay. You have 2 psychic stones, a karmic path stone, and then you have a clear stone, and then you also have the blood stone. The blood stone is about overcoming obstacles, and then you have rapid transformation, overcoming obstacles on the karmic plane. And so, long story short here, how to manifest large sums of money on the physical plane in this lifetime. What we want to do is we want to kind of go into the karmic contract. We want to cancel, clear, and delete the old contract. What you want to do is pre-pattern or, kind of pattern forward something new and then start manifesting. So it's really not about work harder, Millie, okay? We want to kind of clear a karmic glitch or a karmic hook, all right? And then it shows that you can move forward doing that. May I ask what you do for a living?
Make jewelry with...
Okay, make jewelry. Okay. Okay. So they're also, I have to let you know, they're putting some type of real estate around you. Are you looking for a shop? Are you looking to move? What is this stuff that they're putting an energetic hot spot, an energy-rich kind of chakra spot to kind of move into that's going to help not only activate your energy but help in karmic clearing?
The only thing is that it's occurred to me recently that I might be living in the wrong area.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so this again could be like a 3-day reading, and so the long story short of it is that it's not about generating more cash. It's about clearing what I like to refer to as a karmic hook. And it's not like your karmic patterning. When I'm reading for people, like right now, energetically, I see your chakra system and I see your auric field. Chakras are fine. There's an energy print in the auric field. I like to look at auric fields like records. Remember the old 45 records, that go round and round and round? And what I do is I get the information from the record or the auric field as it spins. Clearly, it's divinely guided by spirit. However, remember when the 45 records would skip? It would be like, beep, 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 like that.
Yes.
There is a glitch when it comes to manifesting large sums of money. You were very specific about large sums of money, which is great, okay? So you need some karmic clearing, and I can tell you it's out in the spiritual plane. A really good stone to work with is bloodstone, okay? It's about courage of overcoming obstacles. And it's weird because the person that we just, the first lady that we talked to today, Jean, She had a lot of past life stuff coming forward, and it must be Maury's people. The glitch is really on the past life as opposed to the current life. And once you unhook that, which is it can very easily be done by karmic clearing. Citrine is an excellent stone to work for karmic clearing. What's very important is to be very conscious and mindful of what you want to put back into it. Energetically, at the beginning of the call, we were talking about geographical areas and how people attune to them and move on. I was born and bred in Pennsylvania. I love New Hope. I go back to Doylestown to do a tour every year. But, I cannot stand driving down Route 78 through Harrisburg and Mechanicsburg and all of that because I can't stand the smell. And it's not a bad smell. It's a smell of flint. And I've attuned to that, and I need to go on. So that's a perfect example of an area pushing me out of there. And the weird thing is I love people from Pennsylvania. I love the Doylestown peeps. I love people from that area. But when I'm going down 78 to 81, I just can't get out of there fast enough. And so what you have done is you have attuned to the energy area that you're at, and you want to take a look at another area, and you want to look first. I would really kind of figure out what kind of stones you like, what you don't like, and then look for other geographical areas that contain that. So there's so much here. And the first stone that you have is the amethyst stone, which is about intuition. And then you have the charoite stone, Charoite. That is a Russian stone, and any kind of Russian stuff, Russian vodka, Russian men. They, Russian stones, they carry quite a punch, and it's a stone of rapid transformation, bloodstone, overcoming obstacles, and then you have the beautiful white onyx, which is a very rare stone, but it's actually the stone of Dharma, living into your potential. And with that, it will get rid of this karmic hook that is holding. It's showing that you make money, but it goes down the tubes fast. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Exactly. I can tell you why, because they're showing a portal where there's a lot of abundance coming through, but it's being held open by this little hook, and it won't stop and fill up. It just keeps going right down.
Wow.
And so, you might want to tune in the next couple of weeks. We'll be talking about how to manifest this, but also karmic cleansing. And after the shift of 2012, we're moving into 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17. It's a great time to cleanse that karmic field and repattern something positive into it. And it's just a tiny little glitch, but it's keeping your energy skipping just like a scratch on a 45 record. Does that make sense?
It definitely makes sense.
Yeah. So in the meantime, 2 stones for you to start working with. Citrine. Very easily, you can easily get a piece of citrine. Put that in your left hand, okay? And then, you're right-handed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because that's what they were showing. Put the citrine in your left hand, and then put the bloodstone in your right hand for going forward and overcoming obstacles. And the obstacles are in the karmic field as opposed to in your current field. So if you broaden your kind of scope, you'll be able to connect with that more. So,
fantastic.
You're very, very welcome. It's been an honor to read you. All these really cool people.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Millie. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you both. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. Okay, so I want to switch gears a little bit here, and I want to talk about Crystal Camp because I see we're getting long on time here. I want to make sure we get folks to hear about what we have in store over the next coming weeks. And you hear Allison referring to our next 3 weeks. We're going to be covering a tremendous amount of information. Clearly, this call alone is just not like your normal, call. She's, Allison, you're always generous with your plethora of information, and God knows you know so much that I can't wait to get my hands on. And I always take notes, no matter how many interviews we do. I'm always like, oh, really? Oh, wow. So Crystal Camp is going to start next Thursday. It'll be 3 Thursdays, and you can click, if you're on the event page, ahamomentsworld.com/Crystal Camp is the page, so you can register spend some time with us over the next month. It'll be from 3 to 4:30 each Thursday, so this is 90-minute classes, and we're going to be going into the many, many things, but one of the things I think is really important, and you're hearing Allison talk about it is the combining of the stones and what stones play nice together, and some really unusual ways of repatterning your situations by mixing and matching your stones, how to troubleshoot why things aren't working. You know, I love that, Allison, you really kind of demonstrated that sometimes we think it's one thing, and that our lead emotion may not be the real issue that needs to be solved. There might be something underneath it that's a totally different family of stones that would help. I know, and we've talked, you know, in all different directions about that. So we're going to be going into how you can really become more fluent in the ability to work with the stones. This class is the beginning. So we actually talked about it, and what we're going to be doing, this is level 1. This is going to be the first of probably 2 to 3 classes, but they're all going to build on each other, so this will be a prerequisite for anything that goes forward, okay, because we want to make sure that we're not like blowing circuits and making sure that everybody's educated on the way through the material, which obviously gets pretty intense. So the first Crystal Camp starts next week, and we have, the tuition is $297, and we have a coupon code for early registration. So that coupon code is going to have a hard stop at midnight on Sunday, this Sunday. You get $50 off the tuition, so it's $247, and the coupon code is Crystal Camp 50. So you get $50 off. It's Crystal Camp 50. So when you go to register, you can just put that in. This class is going to be limited, so when we have had several registrations before we even got on the call today, we're going to see how it goes, and then we'll decide where we have to stop, because Allison tries to get to everybody very, you know, as you can see, there's a lot, and we want to be able to answer your questions and that kind of thing, and get you some in-depth information. So please register sooner than later, and if you want the $50 off, you can make sure you do that before the Sunday of this week. Allison, is there anything you want to say about your plans for Crystal Camp?
Oh gosh, there's tons to say, but do you have any? You know,
yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's just so much to cover, and I'm really excited about it. But I think we really, you know, you do have an advanced group here, and I love working with the advanced groups. And I mean, I can see where this is going. I mean, we have everyday emotional questions, mental questions, finances. You know, kind of romance, life's path, all of that. And we're going to do our best to cover everything. But it is going to be a rather in-depth class, so make sure you get a really good night's sleep. Also, when you're listening in on the call, have your stones around you, because we're going to talk about how to connect to the stones. You know, you're going to take a look at your own stones. Which stones are working for this, which stones are working for that. When you're on the call, pay close attention to your stones, because you're going to notice they're going to start talking to you. And so you may want to sage selenite and sound your stones, which is cleaning them. We're going to talk about that on the stones. But if you have a lot of stones, create a sacred space, you know, when we're going on this call. And I would love, you know, I'd love to teach in person and have interactive classes. But on this kind of online workshop, I'm going to do my best to connect, to help each and every one of you connect to the stones that are surrounding you. So have them ready to work with, and we're going to go through step by step, you know, kind of descriptions and identifications of what's going on around you. So we're going to be talking to a lot of people, but on individual levels. I'm super, super, super excited about this. Mari, I can't thank you for bringing this to life and breathing life into it, because I've been thinking about it, but honestly, I cannot get my act together enough to do it, and you do a tremendous job. I'm so excited to work with you and all these amazing people, and really, you know, we're all going to be working on a collective energy, which is really cool, and I'm excited to see this collective energy unfold, feel it. Everybody's going to be able to connect energetically through the stones, and I really hope that I can just rock their world.
Well, I rock their world. I love it. I love it. Well, I totally agree, and it's going to be really good. And the other thing I want to say is we do have a vision of, you know, doing a few of these levels and then doing an actual symposium next year, in the beginning of next year, at Allison School in Asheville. So I'll be hosting a actual live event there and all of you who've been through Crystal Camp, it'll be an exclusive Crystal Camp live event. So this is something that we really want. I really think it's important to get beyond just like what we were talking about earlier, just the intuition and getting into all of the messages that the earth has for us. And this is a really, really huge tool that so many people miss. And you guys are going to be lucky enough to get access to. So I'm excited about this, and I think, you'll give us feedback and let us know how you like it, what you need, what you don't need, and we'll create it as we go. But I wanted to throw the gauntlet down and grab Allison and get her to do this with me so we could get her excited about it, so she'll want to do lots more with us. Okay, so you guys know how to get to that. Crystal Camp 50 is that coupon code, and that's that for the offer. And if you don't mind, can we get to a couple more questions, because we have so many. I'm going to just look at some of these written questions, too, because I don't want to leave anybody out. Okay. We have somebody who is asking about what kind of stone is best to help with electromagnetic fields, for absorbing electromagnetic frequencies.
Oh, like EMF from like the computer things? Okay, great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. Mm-hmm. There's 3 really, really great stones for that. First and foremost is black tourmaline, all right? Black tourmaline repels any negative energy, which is called positive ions, weirdly enough. And what it does is as it comes towards you, or as it comes towards the stone itself repels that energy, splits that ion, those positive ions in half, recalibrates it, and turns it into negative ions, which is positive energy. And so the Himalayan salt lamps are very, very good for that. If you want to go out and buy one, those are very good for that as well. However, me personally, I do the Himalayan salt lamp, and then I'd have a big piece of black tourmaline, and if you can't get a big piece because they're thousands of dollars, get a couple small pieces, and make sure that they're nice and pure, not processed, something else we need to cover in our crystal camp. But black tourmaline not only repels it, but it splits the energies and it restructures it to become a positive energy. So I love that. If that's the only stone you can get it. Also, smoky quartz, what it does is it takes the negative energy from the EMFs and it grounds it. It basically neutralizes it, like snuffs it out. And then the next stone, the last stone, is Amazonite or Amazonite. A lot of people, it's spelled Amazonite. And smoky quartz obviously is brown, black tourmaline is black. Amazonite or Amazonite, it's spelled Amazonite, is a kind of a turquoise color stone. It's the stone of the goddess. I love that for the goddess part, but it's also very effective at what it does is it absorbs the energy and it neutralizes it. So smoky quartz just like hits it and snuffs it out. Amazonite, it takes a different level of the electromagnetic frequencies and absorbs it and then snuffs it out. And then black tourmaline actually repels them. Now, not all EMFs are the same, so I would strongly suggest to get all 3 of those and a salt lamp. Put them by your computers, put them by your televisions. A lot of people even tape these black tourmaline pieces to their cell phones. A lot of those cell phone little buttons you stick on to kind of neutralize the EMFs are actually made out of black tourmaline. But Amazonite, smoky quartz, and black tourmaline, all of them will get you very well fortified, protected, and covered from the EMF.
Wow, excellent. That's why I have all that in my house and I didn't even know it.
Yay! See. Let me just say, if anybody has any clear quartz around your computers or electronics, get rid of it. Remember what we talked about at the beginning of the call? It's an amplifier. Magnifying glasses and microphones are made out of quartz crystal, so they will actually amplify it. So not only do you want to use the stones to snuff it out, but if you have any clear quartz, or God forbid, Herkimer diamonds or very high-octane stones, get them away. Put them across the room or outside of the rooms from your electronics because they can actually, exacerbate and exaggerate the problem.
Wow. That's the kind of stuff we really need to know, because I think a lot of times we get into these things and then we're actually working against us, and we have the best of intentions, but when you don't know the real nuances of what you're dealing with, you can get yourself into some, sometimes things are working against you don't even know. So,
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, let me just see here. We have some more people on the lines. We are going to take another caller. Let's go here to Janine Thompson it says New York, but I know Janine is in North Carolina. Hi, Janine.
Hello?
Hi.
I'm here.
There you are.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So here's my question. Yep, I'm in North Carolina now. I am launching a new business and kind of cut the cord on, some of the, soul-sucking wage slave activities. And I would like some guidance on what else I can be doing to step into creating a valuable, serviceable, profitable, fun business.
Okay, very good. Where in North Carolina are you?
I'm in Durham.
In Durham, is that right? She's a bit blurry, Mari. I can't hear her very well.
Yep, wait. Okay. Janine, get a little closer to the phone if you can. You there?
Can you hear me?
Did we lose you? Okay, yep. Okay, there you are. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'll speak closer.
Yep,
okay, great.
Better.
Thank you. Okay. What kind of business are you trying? Well, I don't even want to say. They're taking the word try, and the guys are already throwing it out. So it means embarking on, better word. Okay. What type of business
it's a professional organizing business.
Okay. All right. They're giving you 2 thumbs up, so this is a good thing. So you want to know how you can enhance that and accelerate the business, correct? Very good.
Yes.
Okay. Three numbers between 1 and 42.
22, 7, and 40.
22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 40. Excellent. Number between 1 and 4.
2.
2. A number between 1 and 6.
5.
5. Okay. Wow, this is actually a really cool reading. I really like this a lot. They're showing that women are going to be your best customers, but you already know that. You have the sacred Lemurian seed crystal here. Interestingly enough, okay, the first stone is orange calcite, stone of positive change. So, before we even pulled the stones, the guys are giving you thumbs up. You're on your way. I said the word try, but they backed me up, and they used the word embark, okay? So, yes, this is going to be a very successful business. However, you want to you really actually need to talk to Mari, the marketeer, because she's excellent at marketing. They keep saying marketing. You want to target your market. They're really putting. I don't know. I know that you know that the women are your target market, but there's something about your advertising that's not conveying that to the right people in the right way. So you want to take a look at that and kind of hone that skill. They're kind of sharpening the point. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Obviously, it's showing rose quartz. You're following your heart. Intellectually, you have a really great idea, and you know where you want to go. But there's a big leap from your intellect to actually the paper. Do you have your website and everything done?
Yes.
Okay. So they're showing that your message, what you have in your head, is not completely conveyed to your target market. So you want to take a look at that. You also want to talk about, they're showing the black tourmaline, and we just talked about how that turns negative energy into positive energy. And so you really want to talk about that, and you actually may want to bring some of this spirituality into it. You can even work with stones and help them strategically utilize stones to stay more organized and more focused.
I actually have that as a part of it, so maybe I need to speak to that.
Yes,
because I do hand analysis and I work with crystals.
Okay, perfect, because they're showing bring that in. And you can help these people, here's where the missing link is. You can help these people become more organized, but what you can do that other people can't is help them maintain their organization skills and not only organize something for them, but teach them how to live a more organized life. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, and so what they're saying is you need to explain more of your other modalities and put that on your website. And they're also, I like to read stones with what's there and what's missing. You don't have any throat chakra stones, okay? There's no blue stones here. And because that's missing, what the guides are saying is you want to get out there and not only doing, like, regular advertising, but start speaking, meeting, greeting, kind of doing demonstrations. You have to get out there energetically and propel it through the voice. So take a look at, they're showing blue calcite, blue lace agate as far as getting your words out there they're showing the ear in the physical voice as well as on print and in the internet. Does that make sense?
And I have some of those things coming up, so that's good.
Okay, perfect. And what you want to do is you want to really focus on how unique you are as far as your skills are very good at organizing, but what you can do is work with these people and help them continue to stay organized. So, and then also bring in what being organized will do for their personal life, their professional life, and so on. So marry a bit of that spirituality with the organizational skills, and it looks like you'll be on your way.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yes, I think I need to probably go and make some tweaks to my site, which I kind of know I needed to do, and make things more clear, and just continue getting out and speaking.
Yes, absolutely, because a lot of the people, once you, and also use unique scenarios, speak to them, listen to what they have to say, their feedback, and then, give little teasers of problem solving. But what they want to know is that you understand what their particular issue is, and the answer is yes, you do that. You just have to kind of convey that. So do really focus on the meet and greet, and then the copy on your website needs to be beefed out to convey everything that's in your head on the intellectual level. They're showing the clear calcite stone, which means everything's in your head. It needs to go out through the voice, the throat chakra, and also Mari is a master at copy. So I'm sure a session or two with her will definitely help you. I know it's helped me. So
thank you so much for calling in, Janine.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thanks. You know what, Allison, you're phenomenal, and I just want to say thank you. I know we're at the end of our show today. Are there any kind of last words of wisdom you'd like to share with everybody before we wrap the show for today?
Oh, okay. Well, as far as the stones, I always close with be good to your stones, and your stones will be good to you. And being good to your stones means to make sure they're cleansed. Please, do not let your stones sit out in the sun for days. Moonlight is much better. Also, whatever you do, do not soak your stones in salt water. That will actually kill them. So fire up your stones. Be good to your stones. Your stones will be good to you. And really just kind of start paying attention to the subtle energies out there, because we're going to be talking a lot about those subtle energies in the next couple of weeks, and really kind of honing your skills with the stones, and also not only with the stones, but with Mother Nature, with Mother Earth, the divine, and each other.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Well, you know what, you guys, I think that's it for today, but I just want to say I'm looking forward to seeing you all in Crystal Camp. This is really, really good stuff. I know it's just going to get better and better and better. So you can go to ahamomentsworld.com/Crystal Camp, CRYSTALCAMP, and if you register quickly, you'll get the coupon code CrystalCamp50, and we will see you in class. So I'm going to end today's call with my motto, which is, you truly can have exactly what you want. You absolutely deserve it too. And in this energy, anything is possible. See you next week, everybody. Take care.